This week on The Travel Show...
50 years since Stonewall, we're in New York ahead of the World Pride celebration.
It's only now that we realise what big impact they all made.
Up high in Peru and island hopping in Europe, our global guru's back to answer more of your questions. And I paint the town black at a festival for goths.
That's cool.
I'm not sure if I'll get past customs with that.
This week, I'm exploring Whitby in the northeast of England. It's a pretty town with a bit of a dark side.
More than 120 years ago, this place inspired the creation of one of literature's most terrifying monsters. Stay tuned to find out which one. But first...
We're in New York as the city gears up to host 4 million visitors for World Pride. Perhaps the biggest event in the calendar for many in the community. This year will be especially poignant though, as it marks the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Riots, an event that marked the start of the struggle for recognition, rights and respect. We sent the BBC's LGBT correspondent Ben Hunt to find out more.
New York, a city that has always held a special place in my heart. I love the pace, the energy and the excitement. But more than anything, it's a city that I found inclusive, where people like me can be themselves. When I was growing up, I didn't really think about what had happened before I was alive to enable me to live such a free and open life. It's something that I think a lot of young people go through now. You just find yourself within a community that's really loving and accepting, and you don't think about the history behind it. So it's so nice to come to New York and see that actually, for the 50th anniversary of Stonewall, we are celebrating the past. We are looking into the people that really allowed us to be so free and open now. In the US, the 1960s was an era of activism and protests.
It was the end of the counterculture 1960s. Women were fighting for their rights. Blacks were fighting for their rights. Latinos were fighting for their rights. And we just said, what about us? Why not us? Why not me?
On June 28, 1969, the riots at the Stonewall Inn on Christopher Street would mark the birth of the modern gay rights movement.
So this is where it's at.
Yes.
This is where it all happened.
Mark SEGAL was 18 at the time and had arrived in the city just a few weeks earlier.
Seeing all the rainbow flags on it.
What is it like to be back here?
It's sort of emotional. I think of the people who helped educate me or what we needed to do to create a real movement, to create real equality.
What was it like that night?
Just like any other normal night. We were inside, we were having a great time. I was standing in the back near the dance floor. The lights flickered on. Then they came on full force. I looked over at someone and said, what's happening? And they said, oh, very casually, it's a raid. I'd never been in a raid before, so I was a little nervous. Police barged in. I just started pushing people around. And anybody looked like they were successful, they went up to them and said, take out your wallet. And they took the money. It was, out graft right in front of everybody's face, and they didn't care, because that's the way you got to treat gay men and lesbian women in those days. You treated them like trash. So they carted me, I went out, and I stood about right over there. Out here, somewhere between 50 and 100. Police tried to disperse us. We wouldn't disperse. It was the first time that gay people said to police, no, this is our neighborhood. You're not going to tell us to get off our street. We picked up stones, we picked up cans, and threw them. And that was the first night.
The protests raged for several nights and led to the first Pride March in 1970. The Stonewall Inn has since become a historic landmark and attracts visitors from across the globe, keen to learn about the struggles.
It was illegal to serve gay people alcohol, and it was also...
I mean, it wasn't easy. Many of us went to jail. Many of us were beat. It's been a long 50 years, but guess what? We're further along than I would have ever expected.
I can't really imagine what it must have been like to be there on that day when the Stonewall Riots were kicking off. But I loved what he said about the fact that for them, it was just a protest. They were just sticking up for their rights and doing what they felt they needed to do. And it's only now that we realise what a big impact they all made. Many cultural institutions have embraced the opportunity to delve deeper into LGBT history and culture, highlighting the bravery of some of the less well-known figures.
Some of the most important people are transgender people, and particularly Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson. A lot of people think of them just in terms of their participation in Stonewall, but they were really major activists at that time and were on the front lines of all of the demonstrations.
So the whole community came together then?
Yeah, both this new generation of activists and also the older generation of activists, and lesbian activists, gay activists, and transgender activists.
Oh yes, lesbians unite, yeah.
And so here you see thousands of people who are willing to come out of the closet and be part of this political movement.
It's hoped that exhibitions like this will help keep the memory of what happened alive and inspire future generations. I'm 27. This is the first time I'm seeing many of these pieces. Why should people my age and my generation care about this exhibition?
In this internet age of people liking things on Facebook and a kind of internet activism, I think it's very hard for people to realize the real oppression that people faced in the 1960s and 70s, and also that they were able to make a difference. And the way they changed our society was by getting personally involved in politics, in joining organizations, creating newsletters, and putting their bodies on the line in demonstrations. I think we need to appreciate today and also be inspired by today to know that we can make a difference again.
And decades on, with millions of people descending on New York for World Pride, art is still playing a central role in celebrations. But there are concerns that the events are becoming too corporate. What are some of the big things happening in New York then?
Well, one of the really cool things that's happening, the Lisa Project, which is a local group of artists, is working with Macy's and the HSBC Bank, and they're putting 50 murals all around New York City and kind of letting people know about, 50 years of Pride.
But some people would say that that is kind of like the over-commercialization of Pride, right?
Well, and that's the double-edged sword, really. It's, we need money to be able to do the programs, represent marginalized people within the LGBT community, but we, also want to make sure that the community's interests are being met first and foremost.
But is there still a need for Pride? Because it used to be a protest, and now we've got straight people that are coming into our own spaces, we're going into their spaces, so everything's kind of like mixing and blending. So do we still need like segregated spaces and things like that? As
we gain more acceptance in mainstream society, we're going to be accepted more in straight spaces, but we also want to preserve our culture, and I think that is the future of the queer community, is being able to use corporate money to build the spaces that we need rather than using corporate money to build the advertising.
And back at Stonewall, a chance encounter with a group of students provides an emotional reminder of just how far the movement has come.
I'm proud of what happened there. It makes me proud to see you all here today because it says the work that we did is filtering through. I think any of us who were there that night would have never expected would have come as far as we have. I'm shocked. I never thought I'd be able to be married. I never thought I'd be able to express that publicly. Me saying that I have a husband. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. Something standing out here I never thought I could do. Wow. Yeah. So, thank you guys.
If you can't make it to New York this year, there are plenty of other LGBT events happening worldwide. Taipei Pride is one of the largest Pride celebrations in Asia. This year's celebration comes months after this island became the first Asian country to legalize same-sex marriage. For a newer tradition, on the 20th of July, head to Brighton on the southeast coast of England for one of the largest international trans-focused events. The city's Marlborough Theatre will run a programme showcasing performances from a range of artists who all exist under the transgender or non-binary umbrella. If you would rather swap the city for the great outdoors, then Canyons River Company will be hosting their annual River Pride on Idaho's famous Middle Fork Salmon River in late August. They offer specially designed tours that will take you through the heart of one of the largest designated wilderness areas in America.
Still to come on the travel show.
Packing 2 islands into one holiday, Simon Calder tells us how in Global Guru. And I get in touch with my dark side at Whitby's infamous Goth Festival.
Wow, some of these costumes are just so impressive. They really make an effort.
I'm exploring the English seaside town of Whitby, once a fishing hub famous for its herring. Today, one family smokes herring the old-fashioned way to create a time-honoured breakfast classic, Kippers.
Hello.
Good morning.
How you doing, Barry?
Very well, thanks.
Good to see you. So I hear this is one of the oldest businesses here in Whitby.
Yeah, we established in 1872.
Wow.
Great-great-grandfather established the business. We use the same method as it's been brought through. So basically we get the raw product, the herring, we'd split it open, take its insides out, wash it, and it's brined for about 40 minutes, salt water, and then we smoke it for about 20, 22, 24 hours till it's ready basically. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, it was done like this so it would keep, the kippers would keep, well, we used to say a week.
Could I try one actually?
Of course, yeah, we need to cook it. 2 minutes, we'll have it ready for you.
Great. This is what I like, service with a smile.
That's your kipper.
Thank you. So what do? Just lift this bit up? Okay. Let's get in there. I'm messing about. Look at these bones.
Oh, they're fine, they're just hair bones. They're really soft. You wouldn't
I'll be all right, yeah?
I'm sure you'll survive it.
That's good. I can get that smoky taste. That's really lovely. I'm going to have another bit. Cheers, Barry.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Hello. This week I've advice on combining 2 great Mediterranean islands on the same trip and combating altitude sickness in Peru. First though, this summer sees the opening of a new tourist itinerary in North Iceland. The Arctic Coast Way embroiders 21 villages and 4 islands into an itinerary that includes 800 kilometres of roads and tracks. The aim is to introduce visitors to the pure nature, vibrant culture and daily lives of people living close to the Arctic Circle. Next, Pam Thackeray wants to combine 2 great Mediterranean islands.
We want to explore Corsica and Sardinia in a 2-week break, and we're wondering how best to do this.
There's a clear geographical logic in combining Corsica and Sardinia because the 2 islands are barely 10 kilometres apart. Fly into Bastia in the north of Corsica, a gem of a town set around an elegant harbour. Take the train to the capital AJACCIO, which has ancient roots and a sunny disposition. Frequent ferries sail from the southern tip of Corsica to Sardinia in about an hour. Consider renting a car for exploring the much bigger island of Sardinia, 3 times larger and 5 times more populous than Corsica. Plan an almost circular trip, cutting down the eastern shore to Cagliari, the capital, spanning Carthaginian, Roman, Byzantine, Spanish and Italian eras. Then a north and a bit west to ALGHERO, a pretty waterside town that will make an excellent end to your holiday, with beaches, history and natural good looks. Russell Kennedy is heading for Peru.
We've had conflicting suggestions about how to combat altitude sickness. What's your advice?
Russell, I've managed to get to 4,500 metres in Peru without any ill effects, but perhaps I've just been lucky, so I've called in some expert advice for you.
Okay, so if you arrive in Peru at a high altitude village, it's important to make sure that you prepare your body for the altitude. You need to make sure that you hydrate regularly, drink a lot of fluids to excrete the waste, to help your body acclimatize more quickly. Also be able to recognize the signs and symptoms of high altitude illness: headache, nausea, vomiting, disorientation. Those can all be prevented by going at a slow pace, concentrating on your breathing, and making sure that you hydrate well during your entire journey.
That's all for now, but do keep sending me your travel problems and I'll do my best to come up with some solutions. For now, from me, Simon Calder, goodbye.
And to finish this week, I'm in Whitby, a coastal town in the northeast of England that's also the spiritual home to one of literature's most terrifying monsters.
Legend has it that a holiday in Whitby provided author Bram Stoker with the inspiration for his most famous creation, Dracula, and both the town and its ruined abbey feature in the novel.
Twice a year, as many as 10,000 visitors come here for an event that pays tribute to the town's eerie reputation.
This is the Whitby Goth Festival, and this year it's celebrating its 25th anniversary.
Wow, some of these costumes are just so impressive. They really make an effort.
That jacket looks incredible. Tell me about the story behind this.
Oh, well, this is what I call wearable sculpture. I took reference from sort of old mansion houses and cathedrals and took the architecture and thought about, you know, applying it to fabric.
Could you give us a little spin? Let's see it.
Yeah, of course you can, mate, yeah.
Oh my days, look at the intricacy on the back.
The stained glass panels actually are backlit, so at night time we flick on and then they actually illuminate.
Oh, wow. Looking around here, I'm feeling really underdressed.
I reckon I could sort you out with this sort of nice jacket and a nice hat.
Think goth, and most people think of dark clothing, a gloomy attitude, and the post-punk music of the 1980s.
Is goth still a big thing then?
Huge. It's getting bigger and bigger all the time.
And what about all this stuff? This is really cool, isn't it?
Wow, yeah.
That's a clock. Oh, look at that.
Works.
And it's wearable.
This is it. This is clever stuff. Is that not cool? That's cool.
I'm not sure if I get past customs with that.
Whoa, let's see this. Yeah. Is that not cool or is that not cool? It's cool.
A lot of people, including myself, are guilty of having a stereotypical view of the goth movement. But do you think you get recognised for the quality of the art? Because what I'm seeing here is amazing.
Yeah, well, the craftsmanship in some cases is extraordinary. I mean, worthy of standing in any art gallery anywhere.
The event has come a long way since it started in 1994, when founder Joe Hampshire had the idea to bring together goths from all over the UK.
I thought that Whitby was quite central in the country, but I also made the mistake of thinking they must run lots of Dracula conventions here, and they must see goths all the time.
Because of the Bram Stoker connection.
Yeah, but in fact that wasn't true. All these black-clad people turned up, and then the town were like, whoa, the Satanists visited the town. And so there was a bit of uproar, the police came round and everything.
Seriously?
Yeah, totally, yeah. And then people asked me if I'd do it again. And then the town they sort of got into it then. They kind of quite liked us to come.
And how proud do you feel to have turned this tiny festival into this big event now?
I think that for me, it's great that this is where all those people who are maybe alone or kind of in little pockets in their own town, they get to be the big fish in the pond for just a weekend, and a group of kind of punky alternative people have formed this little kind of allegiance and affinity with a little local community.
The Goth Weekend also hosts other events that share its welcoming tone.
So we're here today for the first audition in our 2019 model contest. So this model contest aims to promote and celebrate diversity within the modelling industry. Goths, punks, people with tattoos, piercings, body modifications, so it really is a wide range of individuals. This competition really is sort of allowing people to say, this is who I am, I'm proud of who I am, I'm an individual, and I stand out.
It's making me look like a mugshot, like I'm a prisoner. He's kicking away!
Some people might find the goth style a little intimidating, but I have to say the Whitby Festival is a fun, inclusive event where everyone is made to feel welcome. Their next weekend takes place from October 25th to the 27th.
Well, it's been an amazing day here in Whitby. Make sure you join us next week when...
3, 2, 1. This is really good. I'm knee deep and I'm still sinking further.
Mike's getting muddy in Thailand as he visits a community threatened by climate change that has been helped by some green-fingered travellers.
And don't forget to check out our social media where you'll find extra pictures and clips from all our travels. But until next time, from me, Ade Adepitan, and the rest of the Travel Show team here in Whitby, it's goodbye.